So I think we will move to the first speaker, who is Patricia Ryan from TEAGASC, who will present the work that was done on mapping infrastructure.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. My name is Patricia, and I'll be presenting on behalf of my colleagues Michael, Emer and Pauline today. And I'll be telling you about the interactive map and survey of cattle facilities across Europe developed under the SmartCow project. So the objective was to develop synergies by mapping and linking research projects, needs and major research infrastructures and technologies on cattle in Europe. We also developed to develop an inventory within the SmartCow consortium, outlining animal databases and research methodologies used in the SmartCow RIs, a catalogue of physical samples, as well as a catalogue of equipment and techniques practiced throughout Europe. So in terms of the data collection, this image here is just a short just to show you the kind of information that was collected. So in terms of the consortium members, an Excel sheet was sent to each consortium member to gather information on each research infrastructures, laboratory facilities, equipment, and database management. In terms of the non-consortium members, an online survey was carried out, and this was followed by an invitation to each of the RIs to fill out a more in-depth collection of their facilities. Here we have a picture of the map in relation to the consortium members, and I'll go through that a little bit later. Then in terms of the data we collected, 18 RIs in total for the consortium members. 14 of these were dairy-based, 3 beef-based, and 1 beef and dairy-based. In terms of the dairy cow numbers, we had approximately 3,000 across the RIs, and Holstein Friesian was the main breed. In terms of the beef, we had about 1,000 beef cows, and these were dominated by Limousin, Angus, Simmental and the Charolais breeds. And then in terms of the research capability, in terms of individual feed intake, 7 RIs had these facilities, 9 have the facilities for metabolism, 15 for greenhouse gas measurements, 9 for digestion facilities, 7 for grazing studies equipment, and 13 for behavioural monitoring. From this we can see that there is a large capacity within the consortium, but especially in relation to the methane measurements. In terms of the wet chemistry laboratory facilities, 14 of the RIs have the ability to test blood samples, 9 meat samples, 7 milk samples, 12 digestive system samples, 9 have the ability then to do metabolism samples, diet or feed samples, and dry matter intake samples. And then again, we just have a overview of the non-consortium RIs throughout Europe. And in terms of the data gathered under this, we had 43 answers received from 19 countries. 41 of these were viable research infrastructures, and from this we had 21 experimental farms, 3 demonstrative farms, and 17 experimental and demonstrative farms. In terms of the stakeholders, we had 19 public farms, 2 private industry farms, and 10 public-private partnerships. There is a presence of an animal welfare body in 35 of these RIs. In terms of the breakdown, we had 24 dairy RIs, 7 beef RIs, and 10 beef and dairy RIs. And then in terms of their research capabilities, 28 are able to do individual feed intake, 13 metabolism, 19 greenhouse gas, and then 15 for digestive facilities, grazing studies, equipment, and behavioural monitoring. The map is available on the SmartCow website, which is www.smartcow.eu. And I'll just talk you through the structure of the map. So it's essentially kind of divided down into 3 sections. So you have a view of all the RIs across Europe. The green represents the beef, blue dairy, and the red is both your beef and your dairy. We have a filtering option, so you can search it through, filter it by category. So that's essentially your beef, dairy, or beef and dairy. You can then refine it further into the if they're a consortium member or a non-consortium member. And then you can also filter it by the lab facilities that we went through earlier. So like if they can test blood, meat, milk, etc. And then you've another option to filter down through as well. So you have here the list. There'll be a list of all the RIs, and there'll be a kind of a short indication on this side if they're dairy or beef and dairy. Then to get more information on these, you can click into the list directly, or if you click on to one of the points, a little like pop-up box will show up, and you can click the red read more. That'll give you then a short summary on the facilities available. So you have like the lab facilities we went through, the research capabilities we went through, as well as some ethical features, some features on the site itself, and then the animal facilities. And then the impact and future prospects. So the impact of the map allows researchers in academia and industry to view the RIs in the beef and dairy sectors across Europe, as well as the facilities each of these RIs offer both now and into the future. It also shows considerable expertise within Europe across the RIs, and these can be shared, which can have synergistic effects on the cross-country collaborative research programs. And then going forward, update and extensions will be applied to the map under the future ERG agreement. So thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
Thank you. Can you expand a little bit on the last point that you made, the future? Because it's a project, and otherwise this is the end of the map at 2022. So how do you foresee this in the future?
So Renee will be covering it more in general later, but we will be providing like updates to the map, maybe some more like filtering options going forward, and keeping the information that's already there up to date, that you're getting the like most up to date info on all the sites.
Yes, thank you, Patricia, for your answer. Yes, of course, it's a question because the project is now ended, and how continue this activity. And we'll speak at the end of the day about our plans. We will continue some activities. Other question? I don't know if there are questions in the chat about this point. So I invite you on the website to look at the map, and if you can also give us feedback, some improvement, or maybe Michel. So present yourself when you are asking a question, please.
Okay, thank you. No, my question was regarding the samples, because you showed a list of samples in one of your slides. of different nature. And so I was wondering whether the samples were stored in each place, whether there was some centralization of the sampling or samples, and whether the samples are available after the experiment. Are they distributed afterwards, even when...
Okay, so any of the data that was collected within the consortium around the facilities and equipment is available on Agrimetrics, which is a cloud data storage.
Yes, this is for the data, but the question was on the samples, the physical samples.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
The physical samples, so maybe I can answer for you. In this project, we only made a catalog of what was available and what type of samples people are collecting. We have not a detailed of exactly which type, the number of samples and so on. Maybe if you want to.
So the data we have on the, I suppose, on the map is just about what the capability of the research infrastructure, what samples they could take. That data is not for sharing unless you want to make direct contact with that research infrastructure to ask them, do they want to share that sample with you? And there may be some agreement within the consortium that some of the samples that were taken during the TNA, maybe you can share some of those samples within the consortium. But if you want to get external sample sharing, you will have to make direct contact with that research infrastructure. And the contact name is on the website as well, so feel free to make that contact whenever. But I think it's just one final point. Jaap made a very good comment. We don't want the map to stop because there's been a lot of pain and emails, many, to get it where it is. And we have a good resource now, and in the ERG we want to continue it. And what we would really like as well is that I think there's more. We have about 43 research infrastructure, non-consortium research infrastructures there. We'd like to know, is there somewhere missing? And even in the next month, we would go back and, like SmartCow finishes the 30th of April, but we would go back and try again to see can we populate this, because it would be great to have a map with all the non-consortium research infrastructures on it, and at least we would have that achieved maybe by the end of this year. So if you know of if people could scan that and maybe email myself, Patricia, or Emer, and we can follow up then after that. So we'd appreciate that. So thank you.
So just a final.
Do you have any feedback of people that use the map and identified research infrastructures they needed? The usefulness of the map.
So usually for like the AGMs and stuff, we've gotten feedback of the people that have been in attendance at these AGMs. So that's kind of where like the colour ledger and stuff were introduced and added in.
Thank you, Patricia.